My name is Joanna Head and I'm an integrative counsellor and an EMDR therapist, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about EMDR therapy. Now, it was originally developed to treat trauma, particularly PTSD, but over the years it's become much more widely used and found to be effective across a whole range of issues such as anxiety, depression, relationship problems, low self-esteem, phobias. Any problem that is linked to trauma or has trauma at its root. Now, what do we mean by trauma? In EMDR terms, it can be a single event or a series of distressing events. Not necessarily life-threatening, but it involves being emotionally overwhelming and triggering the innate fight or flight response. So there can be what we normally think of as a trauma. It could be a car accident, or it could be a sexual assault or a violent attack, a natural disaster, a sudden bereavement, but also things like bullying or repeated experiences of abuse or emotional neglect, particularly in childhood. Now, the brain doesn't process traumatic memories in the same way as normal memories. The brain's processing system is overwhelmed by the emotions that are experienced at the time of the trauma, so that they don't get stored away in the brain as in the past, as over, as finished, as filed away with an end date on them. A traumatic memory is a bit more like having a file that's active and open on the desk. It doesn't feel that it's over. It has a quality of being ongoing, and that's how it's held in the brain. Now, I get clients who come to me with symptoms such as feeling anxious and irritable for no apparent reason, feeling hypervigilant or tense, unable to concentrate, or at the other end of the scale, feeling numb and shut down, no energy. And these are all normal trauma responses, so we're experiencing the same feelings and thoughts and body sensations as if a trauma is ongoing or happening again. And it's not like we have no idea why we're feeling as we do. It's not like it's over and in the past and it's affecting us in our current lives. We may not even be aware of what that trauma might be. Now, how does EMDR work? Well, it works through stimulating the left and the right brain, which seems to stimulate the brain's memory processing system so that the traumatic memories lose their intensity and become more like normal memories, not affecting us in our everyday lives and in the future. So what can you expect from your EMDR sessions? Well, first, like any therapy, there's the assessment. You get to talk in detail about the problem, about the impact it's having on your life. And then we take a bit of a history to get a good understanding of what from the past is feeding into your current problem. Next, there's what we call resourcing, and this is a really important part of EMDR to prepare for the processing. And by resourcing, we mean learning to manage difficult emotions, because EMDR can churn up some quite intense emotions. So you learn techniques like any kind of self-soothing techniques, calming techniques, relaxation, visualizations, and these are really useful not only in your EMDR therapy, but valuable in life in general, I find. Then there's the actual processing. Now, this is done by holding the memory, thinking about the memory, the traumatic memory, at the same time as experiencing some form of bilateral stimulation, and this might be with eye movements, left and right, you follow with your eyes, or it might be tapping, shoulders, on your knees, or it could be maybe sounds, left and right, left and right. And what seems to happen is the brain spontaneously makes new connections. There's a shift in perspective, so that over time you begin to feel very differently about that trauma. It doesn't affect you bodily and emotionally in the same way. Now, at the beginning of EMDR processing, you can experience some quite intense emotions, but this reduces over time and often quite quickly, so that eventually you can think about the trauma without being disturbed and it doesn't affect you in your current and future life. And then at the end of any session, we use a wind down. At the end of every session, we use those techniques you learnt at the beginning, the self-soothing, the calming, relaxation techniques, so that by the time you finish your session, you'll be feeling calm again and able to go about your everyday life. So what might EMDR help with? Well, as I said, it's specifically for PTSD, but nowadays much more widely used for a whole range of issues such as anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, relationship problems, performance anxiety, phobias. And it can be used either as a standalone therapy or in conjunction with talking therapy. Either way, it can be really, really effective. If you're interested, there's lots on the internet. You can read up about it. Or the alternative is to contact an EMDR therapist and talk it through with them. Well, thanks for listening, and I wish you well. Goodbye for now.